welcome to Spotlight. I'm your host, Steph Chartel. This past week, we were able to follow the wrestling team, the men's basketball team, courtesy of ESPN2, as well as the women's basketball team.
On Saturday afternoon, the Rider wrestling team brawled with two tough opponents, Clarion University and the neighboring Rutgers University. The men entered the alumni gym with a great deal of confidence and motivation, but left with even more. Prior to Saturday, the Broncs had won 2 consecutive matches. On Saturday, the men continued their streak by adding 2 more wins to their belt. Ed Bordas, Rider's heavyweight, said the following: "Since the George Mason duel, as a group, we've been wrestling much better. It feels good that the team is doing better as we head into the end of the season." The results of Saturday's matches were Rider 24, Clarion 16, Rider 19, Rutgers 13. The men's basketball team traveled to Albany, New York to face the Saints of Siena on February 2nd. This was the Broncs' 6th trip to New York this season, but their first game against the Saints, which at that point were close behind Rider in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference standings. Commentators spoke highly of senior forward Jason Thompson. They felt that his speed, focus, and defense are among the qualities that make him such a great player. Head coach Tommy Dempsey agrees. He says, quote, "One of the keys to the big first half was the way Jason responded to when he was double teamed. He makes such good decisions with the ball," end quote. The big first half that Dempsey mentioned was indeed an impressive one for the Broncs. At halftime, Rider led Siena 59-34. Moving forward into the second half, the Saints were able to cut the lead, but not enough to dominate the dunking Broncs. Performances by sophomore Ryan Thompson, as well as freshman Justin Robinson, were highly honored. Thompson finished with 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. Robinson finished with 12 points, as well as 6 rebounds and 4 assists. With 1 minute left in the game, Robinson attained a tip-in, exceeding Rider's lead to 86-73. Rider's men were able to dispose of the Saints with a final score of 89-75, making this game the 9th win in their striking winning streak. On February 3rd, Our Lady Broncs fell to the Lady Jaspers of Manhattan College by a score of 82-49. Head coach Lynn Milligan said the following: "Our competitiveness wasn't there, and I give Manhattan credit. They are a good team and they shot the ball very well." In addition to the Broncs' lack of defense, they missed many of their free throws. The Jaspers performed quite differently. They made 17 of 18 possible free throws. At halftime, the score was already a depressing 43-22. The crowd for Sunday's game, majority of them Bronc fans, was quite rowdy, disagreeing with many of the referees' calls, for they felt they were picking on the Lady Broncs. A win would have been nice for the ladies, who currently are last in the MAC, but despite the disappointing season record thus far, Coach Milligan and the ladies are determined to improve and optimistic for higher standings come the end of the season.
And now, here's your host of M&M Talk, Sean Pantelier.
Thank you, Steph. This is Sean Pantelier with Mark and Mike. This is the M&M segment of the Rider Sports Corner. Okay, guys, quick question. What did you guys think about the Super Bowl?
I'm going to have to say it's one of the best Super Bowls I've ever seen.
Well, I mean, it was a very good one, but I still think the Rams-Titans was the best one.
You're going to go with that as your best?
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. Going with the teams that we have right now, who do you guys think is going to be in the Super Bowl, both in the Super Bowl and going on to win the Super Bowl next year?
Personally, even though we're not including the draft, I would think that the Jaguars could represent the AFC, even though their passing game's a little bit low, but they have good defense and they have a great running game. For the NFC, I would actually like to say the Eagles, only because I think that if their quarterback steps it up this year, they probably have a pretty good chance.
Now, follow-up question on that. One, who do you think is going to be the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles next year then?
I think they'll keep Donovan.
Okay. All right. Go with you now.
I actually like where he's going with that. I think from the NFC, it's definitely going to have to come out of the East. That's definitely the strongest division. I don't necessarily know if it's going to be the Eagles. I hate to say it, but I do think Dallas has a good shot at making it. From the AFC, I still have to go with the Colts. I think they're a great team, and they had a couple injuries this year, which I think kept them out. But I think it's definitely going to be Colts.
And then
Cowboys.
who wins it out of that?
I would definitely go with Colts.
Yeah, I don't think that
Yeah.
you could really put down the Colts or anything like that. Next topic now for you guys. Jason Thompson and the Riders men basketball team. I know that Jason is the big thing on campus right now. Everybody knows that. That's old news. What do you guys think about the team as a whole and Jason Thompson as well?
To start with Jason Thompson, I mean, there's really nothing you can say that's bad about him. He does pretty much everything. He's great defensively. He gets rebounds. He's not afraid to get in there and go for the ball, and he's obviously a pretty good shooter. Not only layups, but he can hit jump shots, and as we've seen, once in a while he'll hit a three.
You can hit that three.
Yes, he can hit the three once in a while. And to go with the team, they have a great team unity. They have great community. They all give their own piece of the puzzle. They all play great defense, I think. And to go along with the offense, they each have their own attribute, you could say. Lamar Johnson's great from the three-point line. So is Harris Mansell. And you just have a group of kids that are just, I think, have full of talent.
Mike?
I feel the same way about Jason Thompson. He's definitely a defensive giant on this team. The pun was definitely intended there. As for the team, I love the team. They have great unity. But what I like more is they have such a great momentum behind them. It just doesn't seem like it's going to fade away at all. I think it's fantastic.
Right.
And the team has nowhere to go but up.
Next question now. Do you guys think that Jason Thompson is going to be a productive NBA player? Because we have heard that he could be as good as a top 20 pick in the draft coming up in the NBA next year, or this year, sorry. Do you think that is there anybody that you can compare him to that in the NBA now that he has a game similar to?
I definitely think he can contribute, but as everyone knows, the speed of the game picks up as you go on, and I'm sure in the beginning it might be a little rough for him, but I definitely think he'll mold in well to the NBA. If I had to compare him to somebody, I would compare him to Tracy McGrady, who he talked about was his idol. There's so much alike, there's so many similarities. Jason Thompson, as I said, can hit a jump shot without a problem, and I think that's one of his best qualities because he's not always driving. He can pull back and shoot at any time, which makes him a dangerous weapon. And as we said, once in a while, he's not afraid to pull up from the three-point line, which is another great aspect because a lot of defenses may not expect that. So,
Right.
I also think he's going to be productive, but I don't think he's going to make as much of an impact as soon as he gets to the NBA. I mean, unfortunately, he is playing at a smaller school in a smaller conference, and it's going to take him a while to get, adapted to the fast pace of the game. But I think he will eventually form into a good player.
And do you have a player that he could compare to favorably?
I have to say, Tracy McGrady. So.
Okay, last question, guys. Women's basketball. Obviously, it's a much smaller scale than the men's basketball games, but they still play competitively this year. What do you guys think? I'm going to start with Mike.
Well, I think the women, they started out with a great beginning of the season. They did very well. Unfortunately, they've been slipping a little bit. The game I went to see, I noticed they had a few problems with turning over the ball, which led to the other team obviously scoring points. And I think they have a great defensive team, but if they can just work on, their shooting a little bit and not turning over the ball so much, I think they'll be in better shape for maybe next season.
Okay, Mark?
I'm going to have to agree with him on what he said about the beginning of the season. They went off to, I believe it was a 5 or 6 win streak, and I think that also has to do with scheduling.
Thanks a lot, guys, for this week's segment. I can't
problem.
wait till next week.
Thank you.
This has been the Mike and Mark Talk with Sean Pantelier. I'm now going to pass it off to Brian Persons with Persons People.
Welcome to Persons People. I'm Brian Persons, your host, and today with us we have Karen Torsha, the Assistant Athletic Director.
Hi, Brian.
I'm doing good. So we are in the middle of getting towards the end of the winter sports season.
Right.
There's many sports going on. Could you just tell our viewers what those sports are and how they're doing this year?
Sure. Well, we'll start with winter. And I have to say happy game day because it is a Rider men's basketball game day. It's a little crazy over in the Bronx Zoo right now, and it's only the afternoon. But we'll start with men's basketball. Currently 17-6 in the league, or in overall 10-2 in the league, and getting a vote in the AP poll for top 25. They're ranked in the mid-major poll, which I think we're 22 this week. And of course, we have an All-American and future NBA prospect, Jason Thompson. So they're doing real well. The women's basketball team now has more wins than they've had the last 2 years combined, so we're really excited about them. They only have one senior, so the future looks really, really bright for them. Continuing on, we've got wrestling. They won 5 in a row. They have 5 wrestlers that went to nationals last year, including our All-American Donnie Fish, who's a junior, I believe, this year. And then he'll be coming back again to wrestle, hopefully go to nationals along with Doug Umbauer and TJ Morrison, who are also nationally ranked this year. Swimming and diving goes to their MAC championships next weekend, and they've been runners-up for the last couple years, but we expect them to bring a championship home this year. No pressure on them. But and then track and field has theirs in two weeks. The women's team is the defending champion, so we're real excited about our winter sports teams right now.
Excellent. So, what's our best chances in all the different MAC championships? Is there any favorites right now going into those?
Well, I mean, the men's basketball team is the top-ranked team in the MAC right now. There's a lot of games left to play, and the regular season's great to win a regular season title. I think the team will be really, really excited by that. But I think it comes down to 3 days in March. That's the most important at the MAC tournament.
Of course, in Albany, right?
In Albany, New York, the beginning of March, and for them to do that, they're going to have to continue to play hard like they've been doing and win those games. But swimming and diving has a great chance on the men's and the women's side. They have Priscilla Modrov and then her younger brother Drew, who are just wonderful, fantastic athletes. I think Priscilla is in 7 events in the MAC. She's got the best times so far. So they have great chances in a couple weeks. And then the women's track and field team, the defending champions, and we hope they bring another one back too.
Excellent. So it looks like we have a bright chance for bring home any championships in a lot of sports.
Definitely. The winter sports teams are really, really doing well for us this year.
Excellent. So, looking forward into the spring season, what spring sports do we have?
Sure.
And what kind of chances do we have on bringing home a championship?
We've got quite a few. Again, you've got outdoor track and field for men and women, and the women on the outdoor side are also the defending champions. So, and the men are always the runner-up to Manhattan, and they're trying to get over that hurdle this year, and I think they will. Baseball's picked to finish about the middle of the MAC, but I think they're a better team than that. They've got 2 returning All-MAC players in our junior catcher, Sean Olson, and junior Jamie Hayes, who plays short. I think he plays outfield, and then he comes into pitch relief for us in the 9th inning. So I think that between those 2 and the other guys on the team, they'll have a really good chance. And the great thing with baseball is we're hosting the conference championship this year at Waterfront Park down where the Trenton Thunder play. So it'll be an exciting time for us there. And softball has a great player, Tiffany Day-Nutel, who's a preseason All-MAC selection. She was All-MAC last year, so I think they're going to really make a lot of noise. And then men's, women's tennis, and golf also compete. And we have senior Tyler Brewington on the golf team, who made a lot of noise in the fall and the spring last year with some amateur tournaments that he played in. So.
I was walking down behind where the backfields are. They're doing some renovations to the baseball field. Is that going to be ready for the spring season as well?
Yes, baseball and softball, both getting a lot of renovations. It's great. I drive on 95 coming north. I live in Pennsylvania, and every day I see something getting done to the softball field from the highway, and it's wonderful. They're putting in stadium seating with chair backs for both baseball and softball. Press boxes, heated press boxes, all kinds of new features, concession stands, things of that nature to really make it a first-class environment for both baseball and softball.
Now, are there any pro prospects that are in our baseball program right now that are getting looked at by the scouts?
It's a little different with some of the baseball. Some of them get looked at when they're coming out of high school, but I can't say for sure. But I know we've had some scouts that have been to games in the past years for whether it's for Sean Olson or it's for Jamie Hayes or for some of our guys that have already gone. A couple years ago, Scott Kanazik, who was our catcher, was getting a lot of looks and ended up, and he's playing in the pros in one of the minor league teams right now. So. But, in terms of if you really want to talk about scouts, we'll have 12 of them in Alumni Gym tonight to watch Jason Thompson from the NBA. So. And
that's all we want Jason to do well tonight.
Yeah, definitely.
To really bring home a win tonight and just continue this great winning streak that we have.
Definitely. It would be great to see.
Well, Karen, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. It's been great being here.
Thank you so much for listening, guys. This has been another edition of Persons People. See you next week.